There is a moment when a man realizes he is not respected. It doesn't come as a shout, it comes as an absence. A gaze that passes through him, a voice that cuts him, a gesture that reduces him without effort. In that moment, he understands that strength is not enough. The world responds to what is projected, not to what is felt. Machiavelli knew this. Reality does not reward goodness, it rewards usefulness. Those who appear necessary shape the environment with a simple shift of their eyes. Those who appear weak are shaped by it. Imagine walking into a place and sensing that everyone has already calculated your value before you speak. This happens every day. Most ignore it. The few who notice learn to shape their own shadow. And this is where the game divides. Common men react. Sovereign men decide what will be seen and what will be feared. The most common mistake a man makes is believing he will be treated according to his essence. Machiavelli observed that no one judges the depth of a well. They judge only the darkness it projects. In the social game, value is not measured. It is perceived. And perception is shaped by the eyes of others long before any merit is demonstrated. A man who presents himself too transparently becomes readable, and everything that is readable becomes manipulable. Predictability is the signature of weakness. It reveals in advance everything that should remain hidden. That is why so many sincere men are ignored. They reveal themselves too quickly, believing authenticity generates respect. It does not. Authenticity without strategy only exposes vulnerability. Perception functions as a silent hierarchy. He who controls his own image determines the distance others maintain. He who fails at this is positioned by others without the right to contest it. The lack of control over behavioral appearance or gaze, posture, rhythm, presence destroys any chance of authority. This is how competent men become invisible, while mediocre men gain ground through the simple ability to perform confidence. Strength begins in what is seen, not in what is said. And what is seen must be constructed, not improvised. A man who controls his expression, his silence, and his way of occupying space creates an impression of inevitability. Public perception begins to treat him as someone who needs to prove nothing, because his manner of existing already announces a boundary. It is this boundary that creates respect. The professional environment illustrates this clearly. A man who enters a room showing anxiety loses negotiations before they begin. The one who maintains a neutral face and steady gaze alters the atmosphere around him, forcing everyone to reorganize their behavior, not through physical force but through symbolic force. In relationships, the principle is the same. He who seeks acceptance reveals neediness. He who controls his own presence becomes an enigma, and mystery is always more respected than excessive availability. The law is simple. Perception precedes power. If you do not shape what others see, they will shape who you are. Predictability is the cheapest concession a man can make. It is also the one that destroys him the fastest. When someone knows exactly how you react, your mind becomes foreign territory. And every foreign territory is exploited to exhaustion. Machiavelli understood the usefulness of mystery, not as ornament, but as a mechanism of self-preservation. The man who reveals constant patterns loses the ability to inspire respect. He becomes an open book no one cares to reread, because every page has already been deciphered. The modern world operates under the same logic. Predictability does not create trust, it creates domination. Controlled unpredictability is not chaos, it is calculation. It is the ability to choose when to advance, when to retreat, and when to remain still, forcing the other to expose himself first. The one who dictates the social rhythm controls the dynamic without raising his voice. This is why most men lose confrontations before realizing they were being tested. They react too quickly, and every quick reaction exposes fragility. In professional environments, this manifests almost surgically. The predictable man agrees with everything, responds immediately, tries to show goodwill. He believes this posture avoids conflict. What he does not perceive is that he communicates absolute availability, and absolute availability always lowers his value. The unpredictable man, on the other hand, responds at the time he chooses. He breaks expectations without explaining, and that break creates hierarchy. In relationships, the same rule operates even more brutally. Those who make themselves excessively accessible lose attraction, respect, and emotional authority. Strategic absence reorganizes the other. Subtle unpredictability draws attention because it prevents psychological comfort. Human beings fear what they cannot anticipate, and fear is a more reliable ally than admiration. In social interactions, the predictable man tries to please to avoid exclusion. The unpredictable man tries nothing. He observes. And by observing without yielding, he silently alters the structure of the environment. Everyone waits for his move. No one knows when it will come. That interval creates power. The essence is direct. The predictable man adapts to the game. The unpredictable man alters the board. And the one who alters the board is never treated as equal. He is treated as force. Proximity reveals. Distance defines. Any man who offers unrestricted access loses value before he realizes the mistake. The human mind operates through invisible hierarchies, and distance is the measure that determines who leads and who follows. When you are always available, you become part of the scenery. When you control your presence, you become a reference. Machiavelli understood that power does not grow through excessive interaction. It strengthens through calculated scarcity. Continuous presence dilutes authority because it turns the extraordinary into the ordinary. Strategic absence, however, reorganizes others' behavior. It forces re-evaluation. It imposes consideration. It creates a kind of psychological gravity capable of altering the posture of those who try to approach. In professional environments, this becomes evident. The man who tries to please by showing up all the time is perceived as subordinate, even when he does not hold that position. The one who chooses where and when to appear controls the flow of attention, and controlled attention is power. When you appear only at critical moments, your presence gains weight. People adjust their tone, measure their words, and reorganize the hierarchy around you. Not because you demand it, but because your distance creates expectation. In personal relationships, the principle operates even more intensely. Excessive contact eliminates mystery, erodes image, and invites disrespect. Distance, when applied with intention, establishes boundaries without speaking a single word. Moderate presence prevents complacency. Moderate absence prevents possession. That combination produces emotional autonomy, the foundation of any dominant position. The man who controls distance controls the narrative about himself. He stops being interpreted by others' reactions and becomes defined by what he withholds. What he does not show weighs more than what he reveals. This asymmetry strengthens his position because it removes predictability. Others begin to behave strategically around him, while he remains unchanged. Distance is not gratuitous coldness. It is a strategy of preservation and authority. It prevents your image from being diluted by excessive familiarity or damaged by uncontrolled intimacy. Distance creates respect because it separates. And everything that is separated becomes an object of consideration. The rule is simple. Approach to observe. Withdraw to dominate. Machiavelli wrote that it is safer to be feared than loved. The superficial interpretation turns this sentence into brutality, but what he describes is more subtle. Effective fear does not come from aggression, it comes from coherence. A man who controls every gesture, every reaction, and every silence projects a strength that never needs to be announced. The fear that matters is not physical fear, but the fear of losing access, respect, or emotional stability in front of someone who does not waver. The hateful man provokes resistance. The feared man provokes calculation. The difference is simple. The first acts on impulse, the second acts strategically. Constant hostility exposes insecurity. Constant firmness exposes authority. And the world responds to authority even when it tries to deny it. In professional environments, this distinction becomes evident. The aggressive man creates unnecessary conflicts and loses legitimacy. The feared man keeps his tone low, his expression neutral, and his words precise. His decisions feel final because they carry no anxiety. Colleagues avoid confronting him not out of fear of force, but because of the psychological cost of challenging someone who shows no fragility. Most people retreat in front of someone who does not need to raise his voice to impose direction. In personal relationships, the principle remains. To be feared is not to be cruel, it is to be non-negotiable. It means maintaining identity even under emotional manipulation attempts. The man who does not bend to guilt, outbursts, or psychological games becomes a solid and uncertain presence. This uncertainty generates respect. The other person realizes they cannot control his reaction, and that recognition alone is enough to establish hierarchy. To be feared requires restraint. True power is not displayed. It asserts itself through the absence of public vulnerability. The one who reacts too quickly reveals where it hurts. The one who remains still forces the attacker to reveal themselves entirely. This asymmetry transforms any confrontation into an advantage. The hateful man depends on chaos to affirm himself. The feared man depends only on himself. His strength is not shown, it is perceived. It arises from emotional command, behavioral consistency, and clarity of limits. When a man reaches this point, he no longer needs threats. His mere presence reorganizes the environment. The essence is direct. Fear is born from control. Hatred is born from the loss of it. No external enemy surpasses the enemy living inside an ungoverned man. Anger, fear, and pride are not weaknesses by themselves. They become weaknesses when they direct your movements without your awareness. Most men react on impulse, believing it expresses authenticity. In truth, they hand over their emotional structure on a silver platter to anyone observing from the outside. Emotional control is not repression. To repress is to stockpile dynamite under the appearance of calm. To control is to redirect every sensation toward purpose. A man who understands his own fury turns it into focus. A man who understands his own fear turns it into prudence. A man who understands his own pride turns it into strategic silence. These three forces, when channeled, shape an impenetrable behavior. In professional environments, emotional control defines the real hierarchy, not the formal one. The man who loses his composure loses power. He reveals where he is vulnerable, who affects him, and which word destabilizes him. This turns him into an easy target, even if he holds a high position. The man who keeps a neutral face in the face of verbal attacks and provocations becomes an enigma. No one knows what he truly thinks or when he intends to act. This uncertainty creates advantage. In personal relationships, the mechanism operates the same way. Emotional outbursts communicate dependence. Well-placed silences communicate internal command. The man who does not react immediately preserves his authority because he shows he is not guided by external stimuli. He evaluates, processes, and acts according to his own logic. The other person notices this difference and adjusts their behavior. Emotional predictability weakens. Stability hardens. Socially, emotional control prevents manipulation. Those who try to provoke a reaction find no fertile ground. Those who seek guilt find no automatic confession. Those who attempt pressure encounter firmness. This resistance changes the dynamic of any interaction. The manipulated stops being you. It becomes the one who attempted to manipulate. To control emotions does not mean to be indifferent. It means not being invaded. It is the ability to maintain sovereignty even when the environment tries to seize your attention or provoke immediate reaction. The emotionally shielded man does not hide. He rises above the noise. And from that height, he observes the game with total clarity. The rule is ancient and remains intact. He who governs himself cannot be governed by others. Coldness is not the absence of emotion. It is absolute command over what deserves to be felt and what must be ignored. The common man reacts to every stimulus as if the world had rights over his inner state. The cold man selects. He treats emotions as tools, not as commands. This selection creates immediate hierarchical distance because it shows that his axis cannot be shifted by external forces. Coldness does not mean hardness, it means precision. What is said does not drag him. What is implied does not contaminate him. What is provoked does not alter him. Most try to appear strong by raising their tone, defending themselves, justifying themselves. Coldness moves in the opposite direction. It dissolves conflicts by refusing to enter them. The absence of emotional response forces the other person to face their own noise. In professional environments, coldness reshapes negotiations. The man who shows no urgency disarms pressure. Colleagues, superiors, and adversaries adjust their strategies when they notice he does not react impulsively, nor rush to please. His neutrality creates discomfort because it prevents interpretation, and what cannot be read cannot be manipulated. This is how positions of power emerge without explicit dispute, through others' inability to interpret someone who refuses to be affected. In personal relationships, coldness redefines boundaries. Those who depend on emotional validation destabilize themselves before a man who does not offer reactions as currency. Coldness prevents the other person from controlling the atmosphere. It establishes its own rhythm. What once would become conflict transforms into interpretive silence that forces the other to reconsider their behavior. This type of signal is more effective than any speech. Socially, coldness generates presence, not through intimidation, but through contrast. While most react, the cold man observes. His ability to remain unchanged in the face of euphoria, chaos, or provocation places him automatically above others. He does not compete for space. He becomes the gravitational center that regulates the environment. Coldness is a weapon because it restricts access. Emotion offered without criteria is open territory. Filtered emotion is a fortress. The cold man does not display indifference to the world. He simply refuses to be shaped by it. The conclusion is simple. Feeling everything is weakness. Feeling only what is necessary is power. The inevitable man does not compete for space. He absorbs it. His presence does not contend. It redefines. This kind of authority is not born from physical strength, exaggerated charisma, or grand speeches. It rises from the silent sum of perception, distance, emotional control, and strategic coldness. It is the convergence of everything the ordinary man neglects and everything the attentive man cultivates. When these elements align, a rare figure appears, someone who does not seek to be noticed, yet cannot be ignored. Inevitability is built in the absence of internal contradiction. The unstable man fragments his own image. The inevitable man solidifies it. He shows up with the same center, the same way of occupying space, the same capacity to observe without revealing. The predictability of character combined with the unpredictability of action creates a symmetry most cannot comprehend. That is what makes him difficult to measure, and anything that cannot be measured is handled with caution. In professional environments, inevitability manifests almost geometrically. Meetings adjust when he enters. Conflicts lose intensity when he decides to speak. Not because he intimidates, but because his posture communicates that he is not there to dispute egos. He is there to define direction. Those who seek approval withdraw. Those who seek influence try to imitate him. Neither succeeds. He operates on a level where no desire for acceptance corrupts him, and no external ambition displaces him. In personal relationships, the inevitable man maintains an even rarer standard. He does not offer himself, does not hide, does not explain. He moves according to his own logic, not according to expectations. This consistency produces magnetism, not through seduction, but through scarcity. When someone realizes they cannot manipulate him, yet cannot ignore him either, a form of involuntary respect emerges. It is not affection, it is hierarchical recognition. Socially, his figure becomes a reference point. He does not need to impose boundaries. His way of existing already establishes them. He does not need to threaten. His calmness alone shows he will not be moved. He does not need approval. Its absence never alters his path. This degree of autonomy makes him inevitable because the world organizes itself more efficiently around someone who does not waver. The reality is direct. The inevitable man does not rule through force. He rules through a stability no one else can replicate. There comes a moment when a man realizes he has always given more than he needed to. He gave attention to those who didn't deserve it. He gave emotion to those who never returned it. He gave explanations to those who never sought to understand him. This involuntary giving is the root of all weakening. Not because strength was lacking, but because transparency was excessive. The world does not break the strong man. It breaks the exposed man. The one who tries to be understood becomes predictable. The one who tries to be accepted becomes moldable, and neither notices when he has lost his own center. Real power requires no witnesses. It grows within the man who learns to observe without offering himself, to feel without bending, to exist without asking for space. In this state, respect stops being an objective and becomes a consequence. Then the only question that matters emerges. How many times were you dominated simply because you rushed to be understood?